Hello and welcome to Writers Talk. I'm talking today with Miles Price, a student at Upper Arlington High School and a radio personality for WCRS LP, a community radio station operated by Upper Arlington and Ohio State students. He writes for a show called Youth Beat, and he's here to tell us about it. So welcome to the HIS studios and Writers Talk.
Thank you very much, Doug. Thank you for this opportunity. Just everybody here at Ohio State who's ever listening, thank you very much.
Sure. Well, tell me about Youth Beat and WCRS.
Well, Youth Beat Radio kind of started with Dr. Lakey's coming out to visit us over at Upper Arlington High School. My broadcast teacher, Amanda Fountain, we got together and we talked about maybe creating a radio station or a radio program to get the youth message out there, because that's something you don't really see in radio. And we found WCRS to be like a great way to get that out there. So we sat down over a couple of days and came up with the ideas for the show and how we were going to package it, how we were going to put it on the air, the listenership and everything like that. Really build it from scratch. And I think the great thing about it is for me as a student and for a couple other students in my class, we really got a hands-on experience in working with radio, and not so much just standing in front of a microphone. Hello, here I am. I mean, that's great. That's all part of radio, but the hands-on and the creation of the message and really putting a show together from scratch, coming up with the ideas, it was a fantastic opportunity, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
So what is the youth message? I mean, what are you trying to get out there? What's your main reason?
Our main message to youth is that you have a voice. Too often we feel like there's really not much of an outlet for say, this is an adult's world. The adults tell us what to do. We do it. That's how it works. And our message is, well, you're part of the world too. You're certainly a huge representation of this country. Taking a look at the past election really shows that youth are now kind of standing up for themselves and saying, we have a point in this world too. You've been trampling on us for so many decades, and that's just the way things have been. It's not because people are trying to be evil. They're not trying to say...
Actually, I disagree, because I enjoy trampling on the youth of today.
Well, right. I mean, I understand that. But, and then our message is, no, we have a voice. We're not trying to overthrow the world or whatever. We just want to get our points out there, because for all the adults out there, you were our age too. You know what it's like to feel like you need to talk, even if it's something that to the rest of the world might seem like clothes. Who really cares about that? But to us, that's something big, and we're just trying to say you have a voice, and there are people out there that want to listen to you.
Okay. So what kind of topics are you covering on Youth Beat Radio? You mentioned clothes.
Yes, we do have a fashion segment, Trend Watch. And we also do like an underground section where we go around and we pick someone from the community or a group in the high school that we focus on and talk to and do a whole segment with them. There's my segment, which is Closing Arguments, which is a more social, political commentary where I pick a topic and offer an opinion-oriented response to, some kind of political or social event. And, sometimes we just have some mixed bag things. We might just find something in the community and be like, hey, this is something interesting. Let's put it on the show. Really, it's kind of it's loose with what we come up with, but there's a lot out there.
So you said you're writing Closing Argument, right? What is your take on the writing? How do you do the writing? How do you get into it? What sparks say, oh, I'm going to handle that as a topic?
Mostly just watching how people respond to news. If there's a group of teens out there that says, this isn't right, I don't like what such and such is doing about such and such an issue, I take a look at it and I'm like, okay, this is something that I think I could respond to. And in terms of the writing process, most of the time it starts with just, scribbling down some ideas. I might be in math class or something, and I might just doodle it on the back of a piece of homework, note to self in the kind of chicken scratch that I have. And then I, develop it further, and depending on what kind of topic it is, I do research on it and type it up into sort of I don't really write it out word for word. because part of the show, or part of my segment, is kind of that spontaneity of word choice and action, and sometimes when you're reading something, you're just not really, you're inclined to and then this and then this and then this, rather
Why would
than
you
this.
say that? I don't understand.
Exactly, and there has to be that sort of freshness to give it a little more personality. So I kind of structure it where I have sentences, maybe the first few sentences of a paragraph, some key points that I want to hit, some facts or statistics that I look up that I need to get in there, so I'm not getting those incorrect. But most of it just kind of is sort of a linear thing where I kind of start at the base of the problem and work my way into, a central thesis. This is what I think, and then kind of expand it back out again. So it's not just this, here's my opinion on it, listen to me, follow me, do as I say kind of show. It's more like, here's what I think about it, but here's more for you to consider. And, I want people to kind of take their own message out of it. I mean, certainly I put my own opinion in it because it is an opinion-oriented response section. That's what kind of makes it unique from the rest of the show, is it's more of my arrogant rambling as opposed to a completely objective thing. But I do try to remain objective so that way the listener can get their own message out of it at the end of the show. But in addition to that, they get mine too.
Yeah.
So.
And I think you said earlier that was the original title of the show, My Arrogant Rambling, but it got changed.
Right. It was sort of hard
else
to print on the website. My Arrogant Rambling. It was too long. It was a font. It was tragic.
So what are some of your favorite topics that you've covered on the show? Those shows that you've really enjoyed writing.
Well,
closing arguments.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've done maybe 7 or 8 shows now. There was one that I did about Governor Strickland's new plan for the 200 days of school, and we need to get the Ohio students up to par with the rest of the world. What does that mean? I don't know. But I did a segment on that, and it actually didn't get put on the air because I spent so much time on how much it personally affected me, and I put too much of my spin on it. And I think Dr. Lakey's the advisor for the show, wanted it to, she tries to make sure that it's not, again, just me sputtering off with my arrogant self, but that I get to do that, but then I need to make sure that I'm coming back and I'm introducing stuff that for other people to consider. And I think with that one, I spent too much time on the personal stuff and not so much here's a solution. And so now I try and orient the show in such a way that, here's the problem, here's what I think, here's what we can do about it kind of manner. Much in the same way like closing arguments would be for a trial. Like, here's the person, here's why I think they're guilty, here's what you should do about it. Which is, again, why I called it closing arguments, and also going along with an obsession of mine for law and order. But yeah, the more favorite ones I've had are politically based. I've sort of grown up in politics, have 2 very smart, educated, intelligent parents that have, brought me up in a world that they don't, spoon-feed me politics, but it's sort of one that I've sort of taken from them and made my own. And so any one where there's like some kind of political thing going on, I have a tendency to enjoy the most because I really feel like there's a lot to say out there, because again, it's getting out to that message that you have, as youth, we have a role in the world. And so when I can choose those political issues, I'm helping, showing teens, here's some topics that are actually affecting you. Okay. Because, all too often, if it's not affecting us, we don't care. And so I pick a topic that I know can affect teens, and I'm saying, okay, yes, this can affect you. And, the whole point is to get people to say, I never thought that politics had meant so much to me. I never knew that this was an issue, and this is interesting. That's sort of, another thing that I enjoy about that show is inspiring other people.